Okay, what's up, people? Welcome back to another stream. As always, hope everyone is doing well. If you haven't done already, please be sure to drop a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel, and of course, make sure you do go check out the bell. Hit the bell so you don't miss on any streams or uploads in the future. Make sure you go and check out the Elevating Trades Discord channel, link to that at the top of the chat and in the description below. Share updates there. Excuse me, voice is a bit croaky. Share updates there. Other traders share updates there as well. Can join discussions, chat with other traders, look at different trading ideas, and of course, learn a little bit more about the Elevating Traders firm as well. So if you are interested in that, make sure you go check it out. Link to that in the description and at the top of the chat. But guys, welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is well. Himanshu, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Yep, I'm still bearish on CAD Yen and the rest of the yen pairs. Excuse me. Still bearish on the yen pairs in general. If rates do increase, we could still see a strong yen off the back of that as well, which of course will help with my bias. But in terms of the technicals, which is where I derive my bias from, everything is still pointing very much to the downside. So unless something changes drastically, I'm still looking to try and find some pullback, some lower highs, and look to really take advantage of that move. But we'll see as things develop. So far, it looks like the yen pairs are retracing a little bit, and of course, we'll get into all of that in a moment. But the bias still remaining the same. Bad Wiki, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Ninad, what is up? Welcome to the stream. FX Wolf, what is up? Ahmed, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Happy Friday, right back at you. So yeah, we'll go through some USD as always. Take a look at the DXY, some USD majors, of course. Go to some indices too, see what's happening in that world over there. But overall, my bias is still pretty much the same. But again, it's an interesting day because we do have NFP shortly. So that could change things. And again, you have a bias and then it could go out the window completely based on the news announcements this afternoon. And you reanalyze, you go again. But so far, I'm still pretty much bearish with the dollar. So if I do scale to the higher time frames, as I've talked about on numerous occasions, we are still rejecting, excuse me, this 107 level. Doing very, excuse me, my voice is not working today at all. So yeah, we're still rejecting this level very well. Let me get some water. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we seem to be all right now. My voice just doesn't want to work today. What's up? Mo, welcome to the stream. Paul, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Morning, Ben. Morning, Artie. Welcome to the stream. Gonna have to bear with me today because I don't know, my voice has just been very croaky, but we'll try to plow through. So as I was saying earlier, DXY is still looking very, very bearish, and we have seen some momentum build up. So I still do think we are on the cards for another move to the downside. Of course, what happens today with the NFP could change all of that. I'm not really looking to get involved in any USD positions anyway until the ghost is clear from that. But yeah, in my book, I still do see more downside for the dollar. We tried to break through the high, that failed miserably. Looks like we are kind of stalling a little bit at the low here. So I wonder how that does develop, whether we form a big double bottom here to push up higher, or do we crack the support and see some more downside? I do favor the latter, but in terms of opportunities, not really playing ball. Yesterday, I was talking about a retracement back to this area here. Had some nice confluence there, retesting the high there, retesting the 0.5, 0.618 of that same level. And that could be a really nice place to short dollar from. But we formed a lower high just below that, and we had a bit of a spillover to the downside. So USD, I still do expect more the same, but now's not the time to be anticipating downside. As you're approaching support, we very much could bounce here. So what I would like to see is price to break through support, break that that area of structure, and then of course that'll leave behind some resistance for us to play off and expect more downside. And I'm expecting similar things on euro and on pound as well, which we'll get to in a moment, but I want to see price break through that low first. It's like my voice has it in for me today. Break through that low first, and then we can talk about some opportunities later on. But yeah, didn't quite get that retest of 107. Still could. Maybe NFP does push us into that level, and then we can talk about some shorts, but not quite there. If we go over to Euro USD, and this one actually had a really nice daily candle closure yesterday. As you can see, really nice bullish closure. I mean, not breaking resistance, but at least showing some momentum. So it would be nice if you can get another close above the high. But again, the key thing with Euro is that we're failing to break through the low here. Massive wick through that area last week. And since then, the market's been slowly building to the upside. Quite frankly, it's mainly consolidation, really. If you try and not look too much into it, we just kind of moved sideways for the past few days, which is a good sign because it means that sellers are starting to fail to break structure. They've been so successful at pushing price down. Now we're failing to break through the lows. Buyers are kind of holding that territory. So if you can see a strong break of the high here for Euro, that will be a strong indication that the buyers stepping back into the market. USD is probably weak again. And yeah, pullbacks afterwards will look like a really nice opportunity to take price higher. So yeah, going forward with Euro, still bullish, still looking upside. Again, now's not the best time to be looking for any entries to take advantage of that bias as we come back into resistance. Not the best time to be looking to buy. It's either we retrace back to the lows here. Yesterday we were talking about this double bottom. It played out pretty well. So see, we come back and test support. We go break through. If you're looking to buy, if you're looking to sell, not a bad place for it. It's just I don't really have a sell bias with Euro. I'm pretty bullish, expecting higher highs and higher lows to form. So I'm kind of waiting for that to develop before I do find my entries. But something like this is what I would be interested in. And again, looking to take a bounce as we are trading off that massive swing low on the daily, weekly chart. So there's a lot of room to the upside for Euro. Just waiting for a good setup on the lower time frames to actually trade that bias. And it hasn't quite risen yet, but hopefully in the next few hours you might see something happen. Pound USD also showing similar signs of bullish momentum. I believe we did take up the highs. Yeah, again, not the most impulsive move in the world, which is not a great sign, especially when we had such a big drop over the past few days, few weeks. You kind of want to see some strength in the market to the upside, really indicating that the buyers are back in town. Sellers are backing off. It's still a little bit corrective, so not ideal. Would like price to push a little bit more impulsively, a little bit more aggressively before I do find any pullbacks. We only just cleared the high anyway, so it's nothing where I'll look to follow. But if we can see some pullbacks after a strong move, there could be some nice buys. I've talked about this area here quite a lot as a nice area of resistance we can target around 1.285, 286. So the bias for pound, the bias for euro, of course, is the same, similar pairs anyway. You can see the higher lows the market's been printing. Could be seeing another one in that same area. And we do have a healthy area of resistance there where we could at least get to, even if the bigger move is still down, expect price to come back and retest such areas, then maybe continue lower if that's the case. But yeah, still looking at upside. We broke through structure last week, which was great. We've had a bit of a pullback and some more upside, so it's been a nice kind of pullback continuation. Effectively, what we've been looking for hasn't quite fit my plan in terms of the risk reward and the entries I've been looking for, but we have seen a higher low form and now just about a higher high. But me being a bit picky, I still want to see a bit more momentum there before I look to follow that myself. But we are starting to print some bullish structure, so if that can continue, see a bit more strength, hopefully I can find a trade for that one maybe sometime next week. Dollar CAD still taking its sweet time. Saw a bit of downside yesterday, but hasn't really done anything in terms of breaking any structure, which has been my main focus this week anyway. Breaking through this low here and looking for some lower highs after that. That's really been the plan with dollar CAD because at this moment in time, the market's still bullish, still seeing higher highs and higher lows. So I'm not really interested in the buys, especially where we're trading. Looks like the market is struggling to break through the high. Again, we're struggling to break through the high now, but that might not be the case after NFP. Maybe if USD becomes very, very strong, we see a massive candle to the upside and price is looking bullish again. If that's the case, I want price to really continue, make new highs again, and then I'll be looking for the next pullback after that. Because if that's the case, we've broken through weekly structure at that point. It's a confirmed breakout, healthy breakout, seeing some momentum. NFP confirms that momentum as well. So yeah, I'll be very bullish on dollar CAD if that's the case, and looking for opportunities above that level. But I'm not quite convinced just yet, especially with the monthly candle close, especially with the weekly candle close of last week, not really showing strength to the upside. So that's why I'm looking for the break of structure and waiting for some lower highs to develop afterwards. But like I said, if NFP has something else in store, I'll be very quick to shift my bias around and look to take the opposite direction. The last thing you want to do is have a bias and be stubborn to change it, especially in the world of FX, where direction can change quite a lot. So you want to be able to be flexible. So if things do change and we get a really strong close this week and things look very bullish, then yeah, I'll look to follow that move. If not, then I'm still going to wait for that break of structure. If I shift over to Aussie dollar, so yeah, this one's still trading at 0.64. I'm still waiting for a bit more development before I do take any buys. The market's still looking bearish, still seeing consecutive lower lows and lower highs, and that's great, but I want to see price start to form some equal lows or a higher high and a higher low, and that's kind of what I'm looking for a trade, because at this moment in time, the market's still bearish, and for all we know, we could still very much break through this level. We don't have to necessarily hold that support. It's a big support on the daily chart. We've seen two evidently clear massive rejections of this level, so there is a lot of room to the upside from this area. However, don't want to jump the gun and at least wait for a sign that the market is stalling. I had a nice bounce yesterday, which is great. Let's see if that can start to shift and give us some nice structure to take to the upside. And the USD is looking okay as well. This one looks like it's slowly forming a bit of a double bottom here. It's not quite there yet, but if I expand to the daily chart, you can see we've come back into a really big swing low. Price tested it last week. Really nice aggressive reaction. So it looks like we're slowly falling back to that level. It could be a nice trade on the double bottom, anticipating a bounce. As I said yesterday, it's a bit more of an aggressive trade because, again, structure hasn't really shifted yet, but you're anticipating that higher low or that equal low to form at that area, which makes sense in terms of the risk reward. It makes sense as well. If you're waiting for a more conservative opportunity, then yeah, you do want to see that trend kind of shift first and try and find some higher lows after, which could take some time. But if that's the type of trade you're looking for, yeah, you're gonna have to be patient anyway. But yeah, NZUSD trading at a really nice area where we could expect to bounce again. Looking for that double bottom at 0.58. Again, waiting for confirmations because we could still break through. But it's an area where I do expect us to at least have a bit of a bounce from for NZUSD, and we'll go from there. In terms of gold and silver, so gold, again, not a big fan of gold at all. We had a bit of a sell-off yesterday for gold, but didn't really amount to much. Price came back into support, struggled to break through, and had a bit of a push to the upside. So yeah, not really liking the price action for gold. I did say this looks like a decent place for a short. As you can see, a bit of supply there. We stalled there for a few hours. Big drop to the downside. So I do like 2670. The fact that we had such a big impulse and price has been so corrective means that this is a nice area to short from as well. So if price was to get there, I still think the shorts look good. I just wouldn't be too optimistic in terms of the targets. Price is forming some really strong support down here at 2610. I think that looks like a really healthy target. Depending on your entry, could be a great trade. But in terms of the longer term move for gold, I'm still very bullish on the market. Still expecting price to swing back to the highs, eventually 2786. But I just don't really have a play for that yet. So although I'm longer term bullish, there is really no setup that's ticking my boxes just yet. So I have to stay patient with that one. But more of an intra-week trade, I think something like that could look good at some point if we get there. In terms of silver, I actually like silver. It looks like it's slowly developing as well. We're trying to break the highs. Haven't done that successfully just yet, but it looks like we're slowly getting there. So I really want to see price make a bit of a stance, bit of a statement, break the highs with some impulsivity, and then I'll be looking for some pullbacks afterwards for the higher lows. Looks like we're forming a really nice double bottom down here. And if I expand to the daily chart real quick and map out the low to the high, you can see we just about got to 0.618. Lovely double bottom there. And now I'm expecting that potential trend to continue. Impulse correction, hopefully another impulse back to the high. So the plan is now that if that is the low, if that is the double bottom for the next high low, and now we're going to see the continuation. Let's start breaking the highs now. Let's start looking for pullbacks and hopefully get a push all the way back to the high there. So yeah, silver looks good. Gold, not so much, but overall pretty bearish in USD still. Yeah, and yeah, the other USD pairs not quite there yet for me, to be fair. And of course, with a big day like today with NFP coming up later, sitting on the sidelines today is not the worst idea in the world, unless maybe looking for a bit more of a shorter term move. What's up, Ahmed? Yes, I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. My throat was just having a bit of a fit earlier, but I think we're good now. Hey, what's up? Wandering Dino, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Karis, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Nenad, what's up? Actually, long on dollar yen, nice. How long it will last, but I'm in profit and stop loss to break even. Okay. So yeah, do you have a particular plan for that trade, or are you just gonna see what happens and ride along? I mean, I suppose you stop loss to break even. There's no risk on the table, but of course, with NFP, like a day like today, it's probably best to maybe book some profits before going into such a news event, just in case the worst happens, really. So if it was a regular day in the market, it's no big news. You could just trail, see what happens, really. But with NFP, of course, it could be a really big move in your direction or against you. So I think booking some profits, probably not the worst decision in the world. Blessing, what is up? Welcome to the stream. I'm looking to buy euro. Okay, so I'll go through a couple of these opportunities. Blessing mentioned euro. I'll take a look at that one. I don't think anyone's mentioned anything before. Himanshu, do I think yes, I am still pretty bearish on the yen pairs. Of course, I'll go through a bunch of them in the moment. I'm still very bearish on them. Still looking for more downside. Everything is pointing to the downside so far. If structure breaks, things change. Of course, I will reanalyze and go from there. But everything still looks pretty bearish to me. I know yen pairs are a little bit bullish at the moment, but I'm looking at that as a pullback for us to take it lower. So yeah, I'm still very bearish on CAD yen. Dolly and hit stop loss. It happens, my man. It happens, my man. It might be we're having a slightly bigger pullback before shorting, so keep an eye out for that. But again, you're not going to win every trade. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. And what to expect from NFP? Anything. Expect anything. Again, the worst thing to do as a trader is to expect too much and expect anything, really. You want to be open-minded. Of course, you want to have a bias. You want to have a plan of action, a strategy. But in terms of a news event, that could go 50-50 unless you already know the numbers and the news before going into the event, which you probably don't know. Yeah, you don't want to try and expect anything, because then you're going to be disheartened if anything else happens to that, especially if you're going to be risking some money at play. So, as I said, I'm pretty bearish in USD. That's the bias I'm looking at. Things change, I'll look to change with it. But yeah, we'll go through Euro USD. We'll take a look at some other pairs as well, some yen pairs too. Blessing, you said you're looking to get long or currently long. Yeah, looking to buy at 1.05306. 1.05306. Okay, so that's around here somewhere. And again, I assume you're working on some of the lower charts. So yeah, not a bad area for a long. It just depends today, because effectively what I would like to see, if I was looking to buy from a similar spot to you, I would be looking to see if price can actually break the high first, so make a higher high rather than a double top. There's a big difference between the two. And then see if we can have a nice corrective pullback back into my area, which is that 1.05306 area, and then try and find some longs. I like the area. It was prior resistance. Price stalled there for a few hours before we had a really nice breakout of that really strong hourly candle close. Haven't come back for a retest yet, so it looks like a really nice area for a buy, I must admit. But it would be really nice if we broke the highs first and then come back down, and also did it correctively. What wouldn't be great is if we don't break the highs and then NFP gives us a big fat candle to the downside. That just becomes very awkward now. Two very different opportunities, even though we're buying from the same area. So yeah, I like it. I like the area. Really nice area. We stalled there. Really strong breakout. Haven't come back for a retest. So I think that's a nice place where again we could look to go form a higher low and can continue in this bullish path. But it can get very awkward quickly if we don't break the high there, and especially if NFP gives us a big candle to the downside. It does really diminish the quality of the setup. But yeah, it's a nice place. I'll keep an eye on that. And if euro is going to continue higher, that is a nice place where again we could form another higher low and keep pushing to the upside. But yeah, it would be nice if we create a higher high though. What's up, Jay Fenno? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Yeah, it's true. That's one of the benefits of using indicators that, as a technical trader, you can analyze charts, but there's some things you can't just take into consideration without an indicator, and they can definitely help from that regard. Again, there's numerous ways to trade the market, but each kind of way has its own benefit if you know how to use it correctly. A lot of people just incorrectly use things and then just think it doesn't work and in general. But there's many ways to look at something and take something and use it to your advantage. And I'm pretty sure looking at RSI divergence, probably building up as the yen pairs were pushing down. What's up, Regina? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Happy weekend right back at you. What's up, Ben? Expect bullet. Yeah, of course. Yes, that is actually it. That's actually a great answer there. Everything else is unknown. You can have your expectations in terms of what you expect the news to be, but you don't want to take that to heart because you want to be flexible. You want to expect anything, to be honest. So you're not kind of too wrapped up in one bias, because normally when that happens, you either probably play some unnecessary trades as well. You really expect price to move up or down, and then you get punished for it. So the best thing as a trader is to stay flexible. There's nothing wrong with having a bias per se, but you want to be flexible. And if things prove otherwise, you want to change it very quickly. But one thing we can expect is the market being volatile and a lot of noise. Anyway, we'll go through some yen pairs. Nenad, you said you got a dollar yen position. You're long on that one. And you break even, you're long, don't know where to take profit. So yeah, I mean, like I said, you don't necessarily have to have a finite take profit. You can just trail and see how far you can take it. That's the beauty of a trading stop loss, is that you don't have to put the pressure on yourself in terms of guessing where the market's going to turn. You can of course just leave that to the market to do its thing, and you trail behind it. Potentially it could be a really big winner. It might just stop you out in the next few hours. You don't know. But it kind of maximizes the opportunity of it being a successful trade. But what I would say, especially with today being NFP, booking some partials, booking some profits, again, doesn't have to be 70%, it could just be a 20, 25%. It's up to you. Could be a bit of a smart move just in case the news doesn't go your way, or just closing the trade before as well if you don't want any unnecessary stress. But I still like dollar yen to the downside. I did mention two areas before the week started on my weekly analysis, which is number one over there, which is my preferred area to short from. And I also mentioned this area here as well. I said I don't think we might not get a retest of 153.5 just because the market has had such a big sell-off. We're very, very far away from such a level. So the chances are we might only come back into this area and then get the sell. I still think that's logically the play that dollar yen is probably going to do. If we do have a really big retracement and maybe dollar is very strong off the back of NFP, then maybe 153.5 comes into play. And that still looks like a really nice level to short, really nice support, broke through great momentum, never came back for the retest. So it's still a level which I would like to get involved with. But yeah, it's just we're still pretty far away from the retracement. So I'll keep an eye out because I don't know, with NFP, it could be a real possibility those shorts But I think something around here is still something to keep a real close eye on, around 151.5, shorts back into the prior low and possibly further. I still really like how the weekly candle looks, really strong candle to the downside, displaying a lot of momentum. The current candle is a little bit bullish, so I do think if we do close bullish this week, there's a good chance of us closing bearish next week and seeing a bit of a follow through. So yeah, I'm still pretty bearish on dollar yen, still expecting more downside on that part. Yeah, that's the play I'm looking at. I know you said you're currently long, but I do have a longer term swing bias with dollar yen. In terms of the intraday price action across the board, we did get that double bottom and the break of structure. In this case, we had a lower low and then the break of structure, but a lot of yen pairs formed a double bottom on the hourly time frame, then went and broke structure to the upside. So that was our indication that, okay, on the lower time frames, structure shifting, this bearish trend is put to a bed, and we could be seeing a higher low form and a push back to new highs. And that's looking like what dollar yen is getting to do. I think some move back to the high up there makes a lot of sense. Probably not going to hit that before the news. It's probably still going to take a while for us to get there. But I think that's still a logical place where dollar yen can push to. And of course, you got the zone that I just mentioned earlier where we could very much sell from. So that's still the plan with dollar yen, still expecting a lot more upside. But the bigger play for me is still bearish after breaking these lows here. So yeah, we'll see how that develops, but still very bearish on dollar yen. Do you think we can see a lot more downside? First target is 151.1. 151.1. Okay, it's pretty much the high there. So yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Back to that high. Like I said, maybe booking some profits going into the news because I don't think we go and hit that high before 1:30. It's 10:30 now, so that's in 3 hours' time. And maybe unless we're very bullish in the next 3 hours, maybe, but I don't think we will. So probably booking some partials just before that could make a lot of sense. Nice. Go on, Will. Again, not every trade is going to be a winner. Not every trade is going to be a magnificent trade. It doesn't need to be. That's the best thing about it. As long as you're protecting your downsides, maximizing your upside, with a positive risk reward, that will keep you in the game for the long run. Holy One, hope you are. I already said hello to you, haven't I? Okay, 9 pips from take profit. Aussie has only reached halfway. Oh, okay, for Aussie CAD. Okay, so yeah, I mean, again, Aussie CAD, Aussie dollar, they're kind of doing similar things, don't they? Aussie CAD, Aussie USD. Normally, they do roughly the same thing. Of course, the CAD and USD will have their fun sometimes, but looking pretty bearish. I noticed that in your broker, the one you're trading with, early one, you had the gap in the market, but FXCM, there is no gap. If I go take a look at Oanda, there isn't a gap there as well. Capital.com. Yeah, I'm not seeing a gap there, but I'm not sure which broker you're trading with. But for you, there's a gap because I remember you mentioned on your screenshot there. But yeah, price is looking pretty bearish. It has been steadily falling to the downside. The key thing with Aussie CAD for me was the break of the trend line the day before yesterday. Really strong break of this trend line, and that has been the catalyst for potentially a big breakout. So now that we have got a strong close below that, that's a strong indication to me that, okay, the market is back bearish again, and we might be in for a really big sell here for Aussie CAD. So I know you're only targeting the wick low there, and it looks really good, but it looks like price could really melt down in terms of swing bias as well. So could be something we look to short for a while and some pullbacks. So I'm definitely going to keep a close eye on Aussie CAD for next week. In terms of opportunities which I'm looking at, I want to see a bit more downside with this one to go and really break through the lows. Then I can start looking for some shorts and some breaking retests and try and catch that next lower high. So something like this, and then we're on our way. So of course you got the prior highs over there. Of course you can really wrap it up from here. But I've been very consistent with them. I'm looking to see if I can find the next one on our way down. But the strong daily candle close a couple of days ago really kind of set the tone because we're just hugging on that trend line continuously. and now we had that big drop, price breaking through, and then it looks like the momentum is sustaining. It's not like we close right back above next candle, which would be a bit worrying. Still looking pretty bearish here. So yeah, Aussie CAD looks good. Of course, Aussie dollar. We just had a look at that one earlier, looking a little bit weak this morning, seeing some downside. Probably are going to spill over anyway back to the low. So yeah, I would expect us to continue to the downside and probably going to hit your target as well there. Holy one, especially if Aussie CAD slowly falling too. Again, this one as well, I'm looking for a longer term push to the upside from this low, but a lot needs to happen. Need to start seeing structure shifting and seeing some higher highs, higher lows first. Then we can discuss some buys. But in the intraday level, it does look like we're still slowly falling to the downside. Lower highs still pretty consistent as well, as we can see. And again, anticipating another one there as well. So yeah, momentum is definitely in your favor. Aussie's been pretty weak most of the week as well. So if that does keep up, you're probably going to see Aussie CAD, Aussie CHF. I'm pretty sure across the board, all Aussie pairs have been down this week anyway. So momentum is definitely in your favor. Are you going to look to hold that through the news if it hasn't hit your take profit before that? Because 9 pips for Aussie CAD, I probably would expect us to do that by then. Aussie dollar, we might not be trading at those lows by 130. So are you just going to hold through them, or you have you can take precautions? No problem, Ninad. Happy to help. Let's check GJ. Okay, I'll have a look at pound yen. So yeah, we have seen some upside for the yen pairs, pound yen included, looking pretty bullish the past few hours, couple of days. If I drop to the hourly chart, this one gave us a really nice double bottom. As you can see, price came back, respected the low very well, broke structure to the upside, and since then we created a high, higher low, higher high, and again another higher low. So we're getting some nice bullish structure at this point in time, and of course, after a break of structure, that's what you expect in the market to do. And we're doing pretty clean. I mean, the price action in the hourly chart has been very clean, I must say. Very textbook stuff here from pound yen. But the bigger move, what I'm looking at is on the higher time frames. I'm looking for the next high. And to be honest, pound yen and the other yen pairs really have been due a pullback. We broke through this low very, very well. The market's been slowly pushing to the downside. So looking at the retracement of this bearish leg, something like this. And this is where my confidence lines up, back at that swing low, which lines up more or less with the 0.618. So I still want to see a bit more upside for pound. And then I'll be looking at opportunities for some shorts around that area to take it back into the low. And hopefully, if everything goes well, back into the daily swing low, which is back down here at 182. So yeah, pound USD is definitely a market which I'm still looking to short. Still looking for more downside. And I like how everything is shaping up. We're seeing lower lows and lower highs. I like the structure of the downside. The only thing I would want pound yen to do, which it hasn't done, is kind of sell off with a little bit more momentum. I'm not asking necessarily, big candles like this and all that momentum. That was great, but just a bit more emphasis on momentum would be nice. But it still looks like a good opportunity nonetheless. As our last major high to that low, we broke a structure. So now I'm looking at the 0.618 for some shorts. And yeah, expecting a big drop to the downside back into the lows and hopefully 183. So that is very much the plan. Hey, what's up, More? Welcome to the streamer, man. I hope you're doing good. Hey, good to see you, man. Good to see you. Hope everything is well. I know you've been a busy man with your businesses. How is the shop going along? Hope everything is well there. Yeah. BTC did have a massive sell last night. Then I'll actually go take a look at that, and then we'll go through the rest of the yen pairs. But yeah, it was crazy. I wasn't even looking at that, to be honest. I didn't even know Bitcoin did that till this morning. Yeah, I just had to look at the chart this morning. I was like, what happened? Because last time I was looking at Bitcoin, it was trading at 102,000 and something. and then woke up this morning and saw that massive spike. So yeah, that was a bit surreal. But yeah, Bitcoin's a bit weird. It's just a bit weird of a market, isn't it? I think a lot of people might have just taken a bunch of profit as it's hit 100K. And maybe that's caused a bit of a spike there. But yeah, it's a different animal. But we'll take a look at that in detail, and we'll take a look at Ethereum as well. And then we'll go through the rest of the yen pairs. Okay. Did you send it to me on Discord, Holy One? Okay, stops for Aussie expecting to hit before the news. If not, then it will be a zero loss trade anyway. Okay, okay. So you're gonna let the market do its thing then. Okay, nice. Good infos I can trust. And now it's back to my normal lifestyle. Okay, good, my man. Yeah, I mean, I know. I mean, in terms of having like an actual kind of shop is very, very challenging. It's not like an online shop where everything's a little bit more stress free because nothing's necessarily, well, you can sell physical products, of course, but you don't have a physical shop to actually manage and stuff, which is going to have a lot of moving components. So I can imagine how uh, how complicated that could get, to be honest. But I'm glad everything's well though. Okay, person Discord. Yeah, I'll have a look after the stream, Holy One. Will Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time. It's been a long. I mean, no, more was on the stream. I think like 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe. He did pop in and say hi, but before that, it was a while. Anyway, I'll go take a look at BTC, and then we'll take a look at the rest of the yen pairs because they're looking very interesting. So, in terms of Bitcoin, yeah, a bit of a flash crash yesterday. It might just be some of the big players taking a bit of their profit, to be honest. And yeah, um, it's an interesting one because overall it hasn't changed too much in the market. I like looking at the daily chart to gauge momentum because when you look at the intraday time frames, full hour, hourly, it gets a little bit complicated and it gets a little bit messy. So I like looking at the daily to gauge momentum. And what the daily tells me is that we tried to continue to 100K, but we failed basically because we formed resistance here just below 100K. We came back to retest the same resistance. We did spike, and of course, we did hit 100K. The fact that the market closed back below is a sign that of failed momentum through the high, which isn't great. But what I'm kind of seeing is consolidation for Bitcoin really between 92K and 99. So until we see momentum either side of this, I'm going to kind of look at this as a bit of a range for Bitcoin and just anticipate more sideways momentum. So we're looking a little bit bullish this morning with that candle, but we could very much just come back into the high here and have another mini sell-off, to be honest. And we can come right back into the low and have another mini buy back to the high. So until I start to see some evidence on the daily chart or weekly, some strong candle closures above this level, then the momentum is back on, and possibly we could see the next wave for Bitcoin. But in truth, we kind of failed just to break that prior resistance. Even though we wicked through, we hit 100K, everything was looking all nice and rosy. The fact that we came down so hard and just closed inside that range means that level is still being respected. So until we start to see some momentum above this high, I'm just going to be expecting more sideways for Bitcoin. I'm not expecting anything to crash or anything like that. Yeah, momentum still very much with the buyers, huge push up. It just looks like we're having a bit of a pause. So if we can go and break through 99K, see a nice close, then the buys are back on, and it could actually mean some really nice, trading opportunities as well if you can look for some nice break and retest. But yeah, it was a crazy move. I wasn't expecting that, to be honest. Ethereum still looks pretty bullish. We had a little bit of a reaction as well yesterday, but nowhere near as much as Bitcoin. This one is still comfortably broken through that descending channel. So Ethereum still looks very, very bullish. I said as long as we stay above 3,400, which is the resistance here, I expect price to continue. We've got the high of the channel there around 4K. That's probably our next big target now for Ethereum. And of course, you've got the all-time highs just underneath 5K as well. So still very bullish on both Bitcoin and Ethereum. Looks like Bitcoin might be having a bit of a pause, a bit of a rest period. Ethereum still looks pretty bullish to me. It's not flying. It's not like it's giving us massive momentum like here. Still a little bit corrective, but hasn't given me any indication that we're about to turn around. So yeah, naturally still expecting more upside there as well. But yeah, was a weird crash, I must say. Yeah, I understand it. It's just the broker, the feed you're getting from your broker. But yeah, because that gap that you're looking at happened on a Tuesday, wasn't it? Because I don't think that was over the weekend. So yeah, that's why it was a little bit weird. But the gap is filling none the way, so I'm sure you're not going to complain about it. Yeah, that could be the case as well. A lot of Bitcoin bulls along the top of it. Big flush, yeah, that could be the case. Trapped on the wrong side. All right, take care, Will. Have a good one, my man. Have a nice weekend as well. See you next week. Yeah, exactly. The same here, more. Yeah, I think a lot of people are taking profit as well because, 100K is an infamous level. People were talking about 100K back when Bitcoin was at like 30K. And it was like, oh, will Bitcoin get to 100K? And it was kind of like not necessarily a joke, but kind of like wow, that'd be crazy if Bitcoin actually got to 100K. So I think a lot of people had some big targets there. A lot of the bigger players would say, okay, I look to lock in some gains there. Such a big round number. So I think rightly so, people probably took some profit there and maybe caused that reaction. People buying into the high as well. That could be the case too. Again, Bitcoin's not liquid as a currency market either. Um, a big player takes money could affect the price of Bitcoin pretty easily. Um, you know, someone closing trades on your USD is not going to do anything. Yeah, exactly. 100K ultimate psych level. Yeah, I think a million's the ultimate psych level. I think a million's gonna be crazy if we do that. But at this rate, I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, we'll go through some more of the yen pairs again. Any requests you guys are looking at, just let me know in the chat. We'll take a look. But we're gonna go through some yen pairs. So I'm still holding on to the CAD yen trade I had from not last week, but the week before. Still going pretty well. It's having a bit of a pullback at the moment. Not much though. Some of the other yen pairs have had a slightly bigger pullback than CAD, but to be honest, it's very far away from the area which I want to short from. Which again, this low here looks very good, and I also like this low here as well. And my stop loss is still trailed just above the high there too. So yeah, I'm still looking at a pretty big pullback. If I am going to get the shorts, pound yen is not actually too far away from the level I want to short from. So pound yen looks the more logical opportunity for me to get a trade. But if CAD yen does retrace all that way, I will be ready and waiting for a lower high to develop and looking for some shorts to take it right back down again. Again, I do kind of expect the market just to keep falling. Maybe we do get a retracement to this area. I don't think we will get the bigger pullback. If we do, I'll look out for it. But I don't think we'll see that much momentum, especially if how the weekly candle did close. But if I drop to the hourly chart, you can see we did have that double bottom yesterday or on Tuesday, broke structure. Now I'm looking for this to be the next high low. For now, a big push to the upside. So this is kind of the thesis with the yen pairs, looking at some up moves and then probably a sell maybe at some point next week. But yeah, the bias is still very much the same. A few people ask me, is my bias still bearish with the yen pairs? Yeah, it still is bearish. Until something changes, then I will look to change the bias, but nothing's changed just yet. So still looking to attack to the downside with the yen pairs. So that's CAD yen situation, pound yen we just spoke about. Euro yen having a bit of retracement there as well. But again, naturally still very bearish on this one. We had a really nice double bottom not long ago. And then price went and broke the highs there. So you can see the double bottom there in all its glory. Broke the highs, nice high low afterwards. over here, and then a higher high, then another higher low. Looks like price about to create some new highs there too. So this is great because it means that we're having that up move and we're having that pullback. In terms of the areas which I said I like to short from, I have two areas which I'm looking at. This being the first one, which again, not too far away, and this being the second one, which is still pretty far away, but probably closer than the CAD yen opportunity. So looks like Euro yen and pound yen are more probable opportunities for me. And yeah, I still do think there's more downside to be had for both of them. I'm looking for us to come back into support down here, which is 155.5. Not quite reached there, just missed it on Tuesday. But I do think price is just having a natural pullback. The market's pretty stretched anyway. We've been falling pretty hard since the high of October, really. So I think we drew a pullback anyway, and then expecting some more downside. So that's still the plan with Euro yen, and we'll stay patient for that. I do really like Aussie yen and the New Zealand yen because, of course, they had that big consolidation and they broke out of that with some really nice momentum. But these guys just haven't retraced. Aussie yen still slowly falling. New Zealand yen still slowly falling, I'm pretty sure. We'll go check in a second. But Aussie just been very weak this week. And of course, that's just not giving Aussie yen a chance to see some upside. So although probably Aussie yen is one of my more favored yen pairs to trade, if I do get the opportunity, I just don't see us having that pullback all the way back to 99.5. So yeah, this one might just be a case where we just keep falling. But if we do retrace, this is what I'm after. Pullback, retest the low of the consolidation. And yeah, looking for the continuation. Prior high over there. Second, now looking for the third for a big push to the downside. And again, we span to the daily chart. This is where I do see price ending up back at 93, 92. So in my book, still more downside needed. There's a lot of wicks there on the daily chart. So we are kind of stalling a little bit, but I wouldn't be surprised if we just go and crack through that support today. If price does retrace, great. I'll keep an eye out for it. This is still a phenomenal opportunity if it does present itself, but yeah, I don't think we will. New Zealand yen, similar situation with this one as well, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so this one hasn't retraced much either. Did form a slight double bottom on Tuesday, well, that was Wednesday. I haven't really taken off to the upside or convincingly broke through structure since then, like Euro yen has or pound yen. Again, in terms of the opportunity, I still do like this level here. Again, literally a spitting image compared to Aussie yen. Looking for that next lower high and continuation, retest of that range. That was the low, that was the high. Of course, we've broken out of that since, and I expect more downside. And if I zoom out to the daily chart, this is where I do expect price to end up. So yeah, in terms of the bias with the yen pairs, very, very bearish still. I know we've had some upside in the past few days, but again, you're never going to see just one clean move down. We're going to see a bit of a pause. You're going to see retracements. It's never just one line. So the bias stems from the higher time frames, which is why the low time frame breaking structure, seeing higher lows doesn't really do anything to me, because the reason why I'm bearish on the yen pairs comes from the daily, weekly time frames, not the 4 hour or the hourly. Those just for entries for me. So it doesn't matter if they're necessarily looking bullish or bearish. It really matters what the daily and the weekly chart does, which is still maintaining that bearish bias for me. So yeah, looking for some pullbacks for them, and still expecting more downside. We already touched on dollar yen a little bit, still expecting more downside with this one as well. A couple areas which I do like the shorts from, 151.5, 153.5, still looking like some really nice areas to short from. And again, with the strength of that weekly candle closure, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a push all the way back down to 140, come back and test the lows there, and maybe even break through them at a later date. But yeah, I'm still pretty bearish on dollar yen. This to me looks like price has essentially held the resistance here. I'm looking at this as really strong resistance a couple times over here, and I'm looking at this as a big fake out. I'm looking at this as another big fake out. So as long as we can now stay below that, probably going to get that big sell back to 140 and maybe further as well if price wants to have a reversal potentially of this 2-3 year bullish trend. So yeah, I'm still very bearish on dollar yen. Looks like we are seeing some upside, and those are the areas which I do like. In fact, the level I just highlighted actually lines up pretty well with the area of supply, so that's actually a nice confluence. But this area still looks good, and still expecting a drop. And then CHF JPY, another yen pair which I do like as well. CHF JPY has actually had a pretty impressive retracement, and I think rightly so, because this one's probably had the hardest of falls. This one, along with dollar yen, you can see some really nice clean momentum on the way down. So this one's really pushed off, but I really like dollar yen to the downside. I've spoken about this low here, retesting that area now as resistance. If I whip out the Fibonacci from the high to the low, you can see it lines up pretty well. Well, in between the zero 0.5 and 0.618. As long as we're in those areas, it doesn't have to be specifically 0.5 or specifically 0.618 or 0.786. As long as we're kind of in the vicinity of those areas, I'm happy to take shorts. And the key thing is support resistance. As long as we're testing those areas, I'm happy to find some entries. And the idea is that we had a swing high over here. Markets gave us a really big drop, swing low. We had the lovely double bottom on the lower charts, which broke structure with ease. So you took up the high here, formed a higher high, formed a higher low, higher high, higher low. So very clean bullish structure. And now we're approaching some areas of resistance. So maybe with NFP today, we can get another kick to the upside, go test those areas. Maybe later today, maybe they could develop and present some nice shorts, maybe early next week sometime. But dollar yen is actually one of the M pairs I do really like based on the higher time frames. Reason being, it has created new all-time highs not too long ago. These are the prior all-time highs back in 1980, and we created new all-time highs not long ago. So I do think this market is very exhausted. You can see ever since we created the new all-time highs, market's been very corrective, very tired, starting to see some strength in these bearish candles. So I do think we're due a move like that pretty soon. Of course, I'm not looking to necessarily hold that far, but it's nice to know that from a top-down perspective, there's a reason for us to continue lower. Yeah, necessarily, I'm just kind of looking for a move back to the low there, but we could go a lot further if we're going to see that correction on the monthly chart. But for now, this is what I'm eyeing up. So yeah, we're seeing a lot of momentum on CHF JPY. I think CHF's a bit strong naturally. It's not necessarily yen being so weak. Yeah, if we get some pullbacks into 172.5, I'll be more than happy to look for some entries. But yeah, that's kind of where the plan is with the yen pairs. 1 million by Christmas. I just saw the message now. Mate, it's 1 million by Christmas. There'll be a lot of people quitting their jobs and heading off to the Bahamas at that point, mate, because 1 million by Christmas, 10x. Yeah, that's insane. Okay. I appreciate it more. Took a short on Euro yen, close the beginning of the week. Okay, nice. I know you like your yen pairs. Buy back on it and trail my stops until it back to the drop. Okay, nice. Yeah, I mean, it does look like there's upside to be had with the yen pairs, but I do expect to just be a retracement, of course. I could be wrong, but from my analysis, it looks like most likely the up moves are pullbacks of the bigger drop, and we could be seeing price continue lower. So that's where I'm kind of at with the yen pairs. Yeah, of course, no one does, Ninad. No one likes the feeling of a pullback when you're in a trade, because like you had the floating profits, and then the market kind of goes against you. So not only is the market going against you, but you're seeing your floating profits go down as well. So yeah, it's never a great feeling. But again, if you're trading FX, it's going to happen time and time again. Very rarely would you have a trade where you get in and you just see a massive candle, massive impulse to your take profit, or or wherever. It's going to pull back. And yeah, you just got to roll with the punches, really. Roll the punches, trust your bias, trust your analysis. And of course, manage your risk. That's the most important thing. Manage your risk. So if it doesn't go your way or doesn't turn out to be a winner, you're not necessarily blowing up accounts. But yeah, the pullbacks will always happen. Okay, you shorted BTC. Nice. Never tried to trade, but this is working wonderful for you in the last few months. Thank you, brother, for the lessons. No problem. Happy to help. I mean, again, everyone's learning from everyone. There's always little things you can take from different people, different ideas that could help, or if it doesn't help, then you disregard it and you move on. But yeah, trading is one of those things where it's only like little things you're looking to take, especially when you've got a lot of experience for trading. You've been trading for multiple years. You know, you're not going to probably come into a thing that's going to necessarily change your trading completely. Maybe you do, but most things you're going to learn along the way, especially when you've got a few years of experience, will just be little things that could help improve you as you go along, and could make a pretty big difference in the long run as well. So it's always very important to remain a student, because you never know what you're going to learn, which could really just take your trading or whatever to the next level. But yeah, that's still very much the plan with the yen pairs. I'm still keeping a close eye on pound CAD as well. I like the shorts with this one. I've discussed this one pretty much all week in terms of finding a lower high and looking to short, but this one's still looking to push up high. So it might be a situation where pound CAD is still maybe in a bullish trend and we're still going to push up. But the move here still looks very, very corrective. So I do expect us to top out at some point and push down. It might not be a swing all the way back to the low. It might be something like this before price does push on. But if I can take advantage of this move here, lock in some gains along the way, then I'm not going to complain too much. And if price does push down to the low, fantastic. Walking away with a really nice winner. But I've been looking for signs to short. Haven't really got that yet with pound CAD. I've talked about this area here being a nice level of support, which is now, of course, flipped into resistance. We had a strong break of that area. Price never came back for the initial retest. So this right now is the first retest of that same area. So I do expect a nice reaction. We've seen some small candle reactions so far in the 4-hour and the hourly chart, but nothing really saying that we're about to spill over just yet. And overall, this kind of bullish channel is still doing its thing, really, and it might continue doing its thing. So I'm looking for price to maybe form a bit of a double top here before I look for an entry, and then I'll look to take it lower. But if not, maybe pound CAD stays bullish, and maybe we should keep pushing to the upside. And again, that's the beauty of having confirmations and waiting for things to shift in your favor before entering. Because sometimes you're completely wrong and price does just continue to be bullish or bearish, or just does the opposite of what you're expecting it to do. So if that's the case, I miss out on taking a potential loser. But maybe if it does develop, we'll see how things develop today. Maybe I do get a trade. We do have CAD unemployment rate. I'm pretty sure of it. I know we had Euro earlier today. So yeah, we had some Euro news earlier today, but yeah, we do got CAD unemployment rate at 130, same time as and we also got dollar unemployment rate. I missed that. So yeah, we got CAD unemployment rate at 130. We got USD unemployment rate at 130. And of course, you got NFP at 130 as well. So I could see a bit of news, a bit of movement this afternoon. Quite a bit of movement this afternoon. So yeah, if you're definitely intraday trading, could be a smart idea to lock in some gains, or maybe close some trades and call it a week. Call it a week. Nothing wrong with doing that. There's always next week. There's always the week after that as well. Don't have to trade NFP. No obligation to do so, especially on the lower time frames where you got tighter stop losses, and spread widening and slippage can really be a big toll on your trading. So closing some trades and just call it a day, call it a week, is not a bad idea. But yeah, keep an eye on that on 130. Yeah, I mean, that could be the case. Like I said, it might just be a correction for price to have a bit of a breather and then potentially push up again. Again, that's the beauty of trading stops, of just having open targets, is you don't have to worry too much about where the market's going. Of course, you want to be in favor of a big move, but sometimes it might just be a slight move and then price continues against you, and that way you can lock in gains anyway. So it can still be a small win, and if price does continue in your favor, potentially walk away with a big win. No one necessarily knows what the market's going to do next, but having a trading stop does open up the idea that, okay, maybe it does go in your direction for a long time, and you can still profit from that, or locking in gains, having partial targets, however you want to manage the trade. As long as you're kind of flexible, not trying to be too one-dimensional, can really help out your trading in the long run. But yeah, it potentially might be a pullback for price to push on. Oh, nice, 128 pips from pound NZD. Yeah, I remember you mentioned, you said you were trading that one yesterday. Yeah, pound NZD's been flying. Pound's been pretty strong. I think New Zealand's been pretty weak. And looks like we're approaching the highs here. And more importantly, approaching the daily highs and weekly highs here. I did say I was looking for some longs in pound NZD, but didn't quite sit up for me. I was looking for the retest of the trend line and the retest of this area here as well. Unfortunately, didn't quite see that happen. This is where I said I wanted to buy. I said I wanted to buy this probably about 3 weeks ago, but price just had that really corrected period. So it took like 2-3 weeks just for us to move 100 pips down, really. Yeah, it was a bit slow, but it looks like price just really broke to the upside this week, and momentum is flying. I know, Holy One, you like to take advantage of momentum in the market as well. And yeah, we are definitely looking very bullish. I would suppose, are you out that trade at the moment, or? Okay, I assume you've closed the trade. Yeah. I remember you mentioning pound NZD has had a really healthy move to the upside. Just missed my area, but not to worry. There's more opportunities coming. Okay, close it when it hits the high. Yeah, I mean, makes sense. That's probably where you're going to see some reactions coming in, especially with a pair like pound NZD, which has its moments where it does move very well, but also has its moments where it's very, very corrective and a pain. I mean, we literally just had that over here, as you can see. Just look to the left. It has its moments where it does fly and has its moments where it's very corrective. It's definitely a pair where you want to look to take profit at support and resistance, because there's a good chance we do bounce and we do react with those areas. Like a pair like a yen pair can very much break through highs and continue and look very, very lovely. Pairs like pound NZD, we tend to respect them and tend to revert quite a lot. So it's not the best pair for trading stops and trying to be too aggressive. Another pair which I do like as well is Euro CAD. It's a similar situation with pound CAD in terms of, are we going to form a lower high to come back down? We've had some really impressive drops for both of them over the past few weeks. Really big drop here for pound CAD, taking out the lows here. And now it looks like we're coming back into a very strong area of support, which is now going to be flipped as resistance back at 1.49. So I'm looking to see, is this going to be another retest of this area for a big short, or is price going to try and break through this? The only thing I don't like about EuroCAD is the big V shape we had from last week, which was this strong impulse down, strong impulse back up. Typically with these patterns, they normally do resemble a market that's about to reverse, because we try to impulse in one way and that's completely eradicated by impulse in the opposite direction. It's almost like price tried to continue, but the market said nope, we're coming straight back up. So it's more of an indication that we'd like to see higher prices, not necessarily a complete reversal, but at least an up move. So I'm looking for that up move to come back into the market, which looks like it is doing right now. And if it starts to show some evidence of failing at the highs here, it could then give us a really nice short. The only reason why I like pound CAD a lot more than Euro CAD is because Euro CAD's pretty flat. If I zoom out, look at the daily chart, market is pretty flat, whereas pound CAD's had a really nice trend to the upside. So if that does reverse, we probably will get a nice trend back down again. So the conditions are a lot more promising. But I think pound's just a bit stronger than euro at the moment. Yeah, euro pound's down, so pound's a bit stronger than euro. So it looks like pound CAD might just go and break through 1.79. But hey, things could change. CAD unemployment rate, NFP in general, things could definitely look a lot different this afternoon for pound CAD. But again, not looking to try and force anything before NFP. There's nothing there for me to force anyway. But I don't really have a setup to trade just yet. I mean, pound CAD's probably the closest one to give me a setups in my zone right now. If things develop how I wanted to do, I could be finding a trade pretty soon with this one, but just hasn't done that this week. And EuroCAD is not quite there yet, but maybe this afternoon we start testing that level and then could be discussing some shorts. Okay, inverse head and shoulder drop shortly as it's extended. Yeah, I mean, that's probably similar to what you're looking at pound CAD then. Looking for a bigger move to the upside, but price is a bit extended. Probably going to have a pullback pretty soon. But yeah, the inverse head and shoulder, I assume it is left head, right shoulder you're referring to. So yeah, possibly that could mean that we're going to push up. It's quite funny because we've kind of got inverse head and shoulder there, and you've kind of got like a head and shoulder over here possibly as well. It's kind of like a contradiction of the two. And yeah, you're going to kind of get a lot of that when price is a bit more flat and a bit more range bound. The head and shoulder patterns and inverse head and shoulder patterns work very well, more so in trending conditions. When it's a bit more flat, it can be a little bit more chaotic sometimes. But yeah, the market's a bit overextended, so naturally you do expect a bit of pullback, and that's kind of what I'm looking at for a lot of the USD pairs. Euro USD very overextended to the downside. Still, I mean, we have seen a bit of upside, but the market's still very stretched. And the fact is, we've taken out a major low on the left here as well, so I expect that to bounce. Same with pound, same with dollar CAD as well. But not really seeing the opportunity just yet, and probably is the best way to go about it because with NFP things can change very, very quickly. So I know DXY have been very bearish on, but if things are bullish today and we get a strong close above the high like this, which will be a very big move, but definitely a possible move, that would just change my bias, especially if we get a strong close, because not only will we get a strong close on the daily, we'll get a strong close on the weekly chart as well, which is more important. So yeah, very much going to be a spectator of. I mean, I say I'm going to be a spectator, but I do have a CAD position. So yeah, I'll be a spectator in terms of USD, but I'm not going to close my CAD trade though. What's up, Annie? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Oh, okay. Pound CHF buy at 1.12. Not the biggest fan of pound CHF at the moment, but I will definitely go take a look for you. If you guys are enjoying the stream, by the way, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. I do appreciate everyone who has liked the stream so far. I do appreciate everyone who's liked the stream so far and subscribed as well. It does really help out. And of course, go check out Elevate Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. Link to that at the top of the chat as well. But yeah, really do appreciate the likes, guys. But yeah, we do have a big consolidation with pound CHF, which is why I don't like it. It could be a nice trade for me in the future if it does eventually break out, because what I'll be looking at is possibly the continuation of that big drop in July. Sort of what I'm looking at with the yen pairs. Big drop there. This looks to me like price had a very weird correction of that big drop, but a correction could be the case. And if that's the case, we're coming right back to these lows here. So if we can break out the range to the downside, it might be something that I do look at in terms of finding some pullbacks on the way down. So that's a setup I do like for pound CHF, but that's still a long way away because at the moment we're still comfortably inside the range. So yeah, one of the big things I mentioned about when you are trading in ranging markets is avoid trading the middle or getting in the middle, because that's where the most chaos is. That's what's going to be very difficult to find consistent good trades with healthy stop losses and not be a victim of getting wicked out and seeing price move in your favor. Of course, that can happen anywhere in the market, but over the course of 100 trades, if you do that in a in the middle of a range, it's going to happen a lot more. So yeah, in terms of buying pound CHF, you bought at 1.122, which is around here. So yeah, that's not the best place for me. Again, doesn't mean you can't play out. When I do say I don't like buying the range of the market because it's very difficult, doesn't mean you can't find a winning trade there. But if you look at the stats over 100 trades, I can almost guarantee you that you will find much better success if you operate down at the lows or up at the highs or just in other market conditions completely. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of the entry. I'd rather this be down here somewhere or up there. And again, doesn't mean you'll win that trade per se as well, but it's just a much better place to get involved in general. So yeah, pound CHF, like I said, longer term, I'm pretty bearish. We might have a pretty big move down eventually, but I'll wait for price to break the consolidation first. Maybe we see another up move. Oh, did not mean to do that. Maybe we see another up move that takes us back to the high of the range before we get the break. I don't know. That's the idea of a range. It's kind of all over the place. But in terms of being bullish, I would wait for entries down here or wait for entries once we break the high and then look for opportunities above that. It doesn't have to be a quote unquote retest. It can be a retest of a high somewhere, but at least we're trading above the range. We've broken out. Now I expect the momentum to continue. So yeah, if you're bullish, buy some pound CHF. Of course, see out your trade. I don't want to tell you to exit a trade. I'm sure you took it for appropriate reasons based on your plan, but if you do get stopped out, you still have that bullish bias. I think this is a much better place to find some entries at 1.112. And if you do get stopped out there, then you're probably in the wrong direction completely, and you can just swap that bias around and start looking to short if that fits your plan. But yeah, for now, if I'm looking to buy pound CHF, it's got to be something like these three opportunities here. Retest a high or retest somewhere else or retest at the low. In the middle is just no man's land for me for both buying and selling. But yeah, I'm pretty bearish on pound CHF. So if we can break the low like this, that'd be fantastic. Look for some retests and hopefully a swing back to the low there. And that will be the plan. But we're still a long way away from that. All right, no problem. We'll go get your groceries, my man. But yeah, we'll go through some more of the crosses. I think I'll start with some of the CHF pairs since we're on that topic, and then we'll go take a look at some of the crosses. But yeah, it looks like CHF is a bit strong this morning. I mean, pound CHF is a little bit down, but it's kind of sideways anyway, so can't take too much from that. But I'm pretty sure New Zealand CHF is pretty down. In fact, New Zealand CHF is an interesting one because it's coming back into my level of support, which I'll look to buy from. At the moment, it's kind of breaking through that and not really giving me a buy signal. And if we do get a strong close below this, it might just be an indication that we're not going to hold this support level, because I did miss this trade here. Was it last week or the week before? Maybe the week before. I missed this trade here. I mean, it probably would have been a break even for me, because if I took the trade there, probably gone break even as we approach that first level resistance. So it probably just would have been a break even. But hey, you're not to know which trade's gonna be a break even, which trade's gonna be a winner, and which one's gonna be a loser. Since we did come back down, I was gonna keep an eye out to see if I can get a buy for this one this week. But I mean, I still could get the buy, but at the moment we're looking really bearish. It looks like price is trying to break through the level. So I think New Zealand dollar is a little bit weak, and CHF is pretty strong at the moment. So that's just a recipe for bearishness at this moment in time. But if we do close like this today, that would be a very pivotal close, because it'll be the first real kind of weekly candle where I look at this and go, yeah, we've broken through that support level. Because if I drag this across, you can see we had multiple weeks where we left multiple wicks. into this area. So of course we formed support over there. We had a big breakout. Price came back inside, respected it as support once. We did get a miniature candle close below, but didn't really clear it by much distance, so I didn't really look into it too much. Then the following candle, we had a big wick to the downside, another wick there, another wick there, another wick there. So price had a lot of trouble trying to break through 0.518. Hence why I've been looking for buys and trying to catch the reversal. But this week's candle just puts all of that to bed. And if we do get close that looks similar to this by the end of today, then I'm just going to be expecting a big swing to the downside. And at that point, I'm looking at us coming right back to the lows here and probably back to the all-time lows, really, which is the lows down there, 0.494. So that just makes me very bearish for Aussie CHF, and I'm looking at pullbacks. I'm looking at more shorts. So it really depends how we close this week and what we do in relation to that support level. But at the moment in time, it's not looking too good. If I go take a look at Aussie CHF, its partner in crime, this one's looking very bearish, breaking through some lows as well. This one's coming back into a very pivotal level of support, which is this level here. Are we going to bounce again, or are we going to break through? You can see this is held on numerous occasions. 1, 2, 3. Of course, big fake out there. 4. Are we going to see a fifth one in the push up? Or are we going to break through and do what New Zealand CHF is doing, break through and go and fill that wick to the downside? I actually do think the bigger move for Aussie CHF probably will be the break through that support. Reason being because we've got a lot of liquidity building up down here. These are the prior all-time lows here. We came so low to spiking through, just missed it. So in my book, I do think we will eventually go and take that level out. But first, we've got this support level to contend with. So if we do get the break of this, I'm looking at push all the way down to 0.53. And then I'm just going to be looking at pullbacks, really, for Aussie CHF. Pullbacks on the way down, take some shorts, and yeah, hopefully get a nice move down there. But we'll see what we do at this support level. Still hasn't broken yet, still hasn't tested yet. So might see a bounce for a few days, which could be a nice trade. But then we might go and break through, so I'd watch out for that. But yeah, we're trading at a very interesting level here. CHF's very strong. Will we keep up this momentum? It'll be interesting to find out. CAD CHF with this one as well, still an overall pretty bearish market. In fact, I was looking to buy this one last week, but we broke through the range back again. So the idea of the buy was the fact that we broke out the high of the range here very convincingly. So after that happened, I was looking for the pullback for a higher low and then the push to the upside. However, we just broke straight below, had a retest of resistance, and of course, we're having a pretty big sell-off now as well. So at this point in time, I'm looking at us coming right back down to the low here. This to me just looks like a big fake out. And of course, if you fake the high of the range, what do you expect? You expect price to make its way back to the low of the range, because all that liquidity is being taken, and we've manipulated the highs. People caught on the wrong side of the market. Now that we've come back for a successful retest as well, probably going to see price just drop now. And yeah, the next level I would expect price to get to is back down at 0.62. So everything's looking very, very bearish right now for CAD CHF. And if we take a look at Euro CHF, I'm pretty sure things are not looking too good for this one either. Yeah, slowly pushing to the downside. This one's probably the most bearish out of all of them because we keep taking out the lows here. Took up the lows there as well. Are we going to do that again? I wouldn't be surprised. So yeah, it's looking very bearish, I must say, for Euro CHF too. It's very, very choppy markets right now. Lovely consolidation, but if we break the low there, probably going to keep selling off, aren't we? So yeah, and to summarize, the CHF world is looking very bearish, and possibly we might be seeing a lot more of that to come. Expect to take out 2030. Wow, that's impressive. We believe that these coins are going to go so high. Well, I think it's just the risk to reward, really. It's the risk to reward, because as long as you're not putting your life savings into the uh, into the coin, it doesn't really make too much difference. It's like an investment. Really, it's a way of diversification as well. Because who knows? Maybe crypto goes to zero, maybe it goes to a million. And I can tell you for a fact, if it does go to zero, as long as you didn't put too much money there, it won't be so disheartening. Um, of course, you're like, okay, I lost money, but if it did go to big numbers, I think you'd be punching yourself if you didn't have some skin in the game there. I mean, we've already seen people turn very small amounts of money into millions. So the risk, I think the risk is worth the reward as long as the risk is not your life savings. If you're just putting a small bit of money aside, which you can afford to lose if things go wrong, then there's no harm, no foul. And if it does play out phenomenally well over the next decade, you could be walking away with a really healthy return potentially. So I think not looking to take out to 2030 is probably a smart move, really, to be honest. Because you just don't know with crypto, really. Is it going to be zero? Is Bitcoin going to be worth a million in 2030? I think either of those options are pretty likely, to be honest. I think maybe the 1 million is probably a bit more likely with how everything's mapping out. So, yeah, I think the long game, just holding and seeing what can happen, I think is probably a smart move. Of course, there's risk in everything. Yeah, I mean, there's risk with everything. There's risk with putting your money in the stock market. There's risk with trading. There's a risk with not doing anything as well, keeping it in a bank as well. So there's risk with everything. I think just calculate your risk, diversify, so your eggs are not in one basket. And I think we've seen Bitcoin go from 0 to 100K, which if you really think about it, it's actually crazy. A coin that's not even necessarily real, um, is now worth $100,000, which, I mean, you could argue if USD is real or not. But the fact that it is worth that, is real, is crazy. So the possibility of now Bitcoin maybe being worth 1 million could be a real possibility. And, if you did have skin in the game, yes, it's at risk, but it could be very much worth the risk if it does play out. As long as you're not putting your life savings, because then you're gonna be very emotional, and if that starts to tank, you can pull money out, and then yeah, that's of course not a smart play, as with any investment as well. Yeah, I agree. I reckon I agree. There's no harm learning more about it. There's no harm learning more about it, and you could learn more about it and think, okay, this is not for me. I'm going to put any money aside for this, and that could be the case. Maybe you can learn more about it, and you decide you're going to put a nice chunk aside. There's no right and wrong necessarily. Of course, in hindsight, there might be, but in the moment in time, if you're happy with what you're doing, you think it's not worth the risk, then you don't do it. There's no love lost. But what I can say of crypto is that there's massive reward if it does pan out, and there's massive risk too if it doesn't. So you have to be aware of both sides of the coin. Anyway, let's go take a look at some of the crosses. So pound entity we spoke about looking very bullish. Looks like it's about to approach the high at 2.19. I think pound is just naturally just a little bit strong entity, and Aussie been weak for quite some time. So these boys have been pushing to the upside very well. Looking at pound Aussie as well, this is overall looking pretty bullish too. You've got the highs here on the left, which price is not too far away from. I would not be surprised if we do see a push back to the high and probably go and take out the high, to be honest. I still think this is a nice place to short from. Again, if we see the necessary confirmations for that, price slowing down, some wicks, bearish engulfing candles, this could be a nice short for for a small period of time. But I would, of course, be very careful because we're going against momentum here, and the market can definitely break through the high very aggressively. But we can see on two prior occasions we failed to do so. So we might see another bounce from this area before maybe price does go and break the high, or maybe we do reverse. But either which way, it's a smart place for a short if that is your bias. But yeah, pound Aussie looking very bullish as well. We've been pretty consistent with the higher lows too. So in the market's been steadily rising. And if we do go through another pullback, I'll be looking at something more or less the same, another higher low and then another push up until that structure gives way or something changes. That's kind of what I'll be looking for price to go and do. Another push up, price now a bit overextended, probably going to see a pullback at some point, and maybe another higher low as well. So that's really what I'm looking at there for pound Aussie. And of course, pound NZD, we're pretty much seeing the same thing, a nice, steady, slow uptrend with consistent higher highs and consistent higher lows, as we can see. So we're due another one of those bigger pullbacks. Maybe go take out the high first, and then we have that bigger move. Take a look at Euro Aussie and Euro NZD. These guys are also looking very bullish as well. Again, definitely not my favorite charts at the moment, but Euro Aussie's coming back into some nice areas of resistance. We were looking at this area here yesterday, which price did break through. Had the nice solid retest of that on the lower charts. Nice break above, retest of support and push on. Now we're looking at push back into the high here. So again, naturally, this looks like a nice place for a short as well, where we can see price start to stall and maybe form another major lower high to come back down. I still like this area 1.658 as a place for a swing. Price formed that triple bottom there, retested it very well. Now I think price is a bit overextended. It's coming back into some areas where we've seen lower highs before. So I do think this is an area where we could start to falter and maybe put another lower high to come back down as well. So yeah, Euro Aussie for me, pretty short bias, looking for a pretty big drop. Yeah, 1.66 would be the area I would consider it. But overall, it's not really a favorite pair of mine right now. So probably not make the watch list next week, but we'll see. Euro NZD as well, looking pretty bullish. This one's not playing ball. I was looking for this one to actually break support and then hopefully find some shorts underneath it. But we had a bit of a fake out of that. Never really took off to the downside, and now it's looking very bullish as well. This one's probably coming back to highs there too. But yeah, I was looking for the short underneath that level, try and take it back to the low here. But we never really saw price get that solid break, solid retest, and some shorts there. So yeah, overall, UNSD, not a big fan of this one either. Again, reason being, massive ranging market. Don't really want to operate in the middle of a range. But there's a lot of momentum, I must say. I think Aussie being pretty weak, New Zealand being pretty weak as well. Euro, pound a little bit strong. And that's kind of been the case for a while now, actually. But EDC grow like crazy. I mean, I hope so. Yeah, of course, of course. You want to be weigh the pros and weigh the cons of anything. Yeah, of course, of course. If things are doing very well, you had some money and it's performing well, you can look to add some more. As I think with any investment, like you said, being open-minded, but with any investment, you just got to be aware of the downside, really, because that's where people kind of just trip up, because you always just focus on the upside. People see Bitcoin hit 100K, so next stop 150, next stop 200, and people are just kind of focused on those numbers, but you're not kind of focused on, okay, maybe it does go down. So if that's the case, are you prepared for that to happen? Is it are you going to be on the streets if it does happen? If that's the case, then it's going to be a very emotional roller coaster. If that's the case, every up move will feel like you're a champion. Every down move is going to feel like the end of the world, and then you can probably pull profits out at the wrong time. The cliche thing that things are doing very well, people add money, and then when things are not doing very well, people start closing trades. But then that's eventually when price does turn back up. And then by the time it's turned back up, they're re-entering up here again, whereas you should have been looking to add as price went down. So it's kind of the psychology of the market as well. And I think it does come back to just not really, really understanding the risk of the investment itself. Um, yeah, because investment is long term. If you put money in today and it's not performing well next week, you shouldn't be looking to then panic and reassess things. This is a long term thing. So when Holy One mentioned his friends, not looking to take any profits till 2030. Again, I'm not saying that's what people should do. This is not investment advice, but the aim is that you're looking to hold for the long run, and you're looking to ride the punches of price pullback and everything. So yeah, definitely being open minded is very, very important, but knowing the risk is extremely important as well. So yeah, definitely something to think about. But yeah, Bitcoin hitting 100K has definitely opened up the doors for that. And I think Ethereum is looking good as well, because this one's still looking pretty healthy, but still nowhere near the all-time highs as well. So in terms of opportunity, this might be one to look at, because this one's still got a reason to keep pushing. People who are holding onto Ethereum positions, they're still probably targeting that all-time high for price to get there yet. So people are still holding on to positions, still looking for that push. With Bitcoin's situation, we create all-time highs. We've already had a big push. We've just gone to hit 100K. So I think people are now like, okay, we've done our thing. We've got to lock in some gains. And yeah, and probably exit some positions. Of course, they're probably still expecting higher prices, but yeah, in terms of locking in some gains, it's not a bad time for Bitcoin. Ethereum, you're still looking for this one to keep pushing. That is so true. That is so true. That is very true. I was short pound yen. That did take a while. But yeah, patience is the key, and patience is very difficult as well, especially when money's on the line. Especially when money's on the line, patience kind of goes out the window a little bit. That is a very good point, though. And hindsight is a killer as well. Hindsight is a very big killer. Um, T try. Okay, I will take a look at pound yen for you. No problem. ITC, please. They're talking about the strategy. Is that ICT? That's ICT. Yeah, I don't know what ITC is. But anyway, in terms of pound yen, as I mentioned earlier, looking for some shorts for pound yen. Still pretty bearish on this one. It's not too far away from an opportunity, actually. It's probably something that I should really keep an eye on. I wasn't expecting that, to be honest, with the end pairs. I thought we were going to keep falling, but we've seen some nice upside, some break of structures on the lower charts, which we mentioned earlier, and price has just been slowly pushed to the upside from then. So I am looking to see if we can continue back to 194, put a lower high in roughly that area, and yeah, looking to try and catch the next lower high. We form one over there, second over here, third, fourth. Looking to see if I can find the fifth somewhere and take it back down to the lows. But I'm still very bearish on pound yen. It's been slowly pushing to the upside pretty well, and if we can put a high in around 194, I do think we can see a pretty big drop back down to 182. So that's really what I'm looking at for pound yen. I'm bearish across the board in all the yen pairs, really, and I don't see price slowing down at all. It'll be interesting to see what happens this afternoon with NFP as well. But yeah, pound yen more downside. Oh, LTC. What's LTC? Oh, Litecoin. Okay. Okay. I'll take a look at Litecoin. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at with pound yen and pretty much all the other yen pairs as well. Okay. LTC USD. Okay. Oh, okay. So Litecoin's having some fun as well. Um, Let me see where the all-time high is for this one. Okay, 413. So we're still a long, long way away from that all-time high. Um, we're seeing some momentum. Again, the key again, technical analysis is always very difficult when we're in this situation. It's kind of like, all of a sudden price just explodes to the upside, explodes to the upside. Maybe we're about to explode now. You can't really predict that with technical analysis. There's a lot more to it than that. So technical analysis is not really the best way to look at crypto in these early stages. When we're trending, like BTC is a lot better because there's a lot more participants there. So the technical analysis is a bit more useful there. But markets like this, which consolidate and all of a sudden just break out, unless you've know the future, it's very difficult to predict that slowly on technicals. But what I can say is that momentum is picking up and it is resembling similar to what happened over here. Our price was very slow and it steadily picked up momentum, and what we did over here as well. So the chances are we could be on another big run with Litecoin as well. It looks like a lot of markets in the crypto world are about to do that. XRP's been a big one, XLM as well. So we could be seeing Litecoin maybe do a similar move as well. And there's a lot of upside. We're trading at 132 right now. 413 is where you're expecting price to do. So that's kind of almost 4 times where price is right now. But yeah, momentum is looking really good. And that's the key thing with these moves. Momentum. As long as you don't start to break structure and we keep maintaining that, upside does look good. But looking at the daily chart, still looking pretty good as well. 4-hour chart looking pretty good. If you come back, respect some lows here, or even this low here, I think these are places where you're looking for us to respect and keep pushing. You don't want price to start breaking structure now and forming lower highs. That's not a sign that momentum is still with the buyers. But it's looking like we're picking up the pace. And yeah, I'll be looking at something like that forming and more highs. If we see a big impulsive drop, then that's the time to be a bit worried. But momentum looks good. Still would fancy more upside. Okay, hopefully that made sense. Okay, pound USD, Andre, you like a little bit of pound USD, don't you? So yeah, pound USD I like as well, but again, it's always an awkward time as we approach NFP in the next couple of hours. As you can see by my arrows, I'm pretty bullish on pounds. I'm looking for at least a push back into 1.285. Solid level of support now being flipped as resistance. We broke through with ease not long ago. Now I do expect that area to now act as resistance. So we have broken structure to the upside. We formed a low down here, broke the high, higher low. And again, we're just about making some new highs now as well. So we're starting to shift bullish. The only thing I don't like about pound is that we're not really seeing much momentum in terms of the up moves. We had some nice momentum over here, but now it's been very, very fatigued, very tired. So it's not looking as good as I expected it to do. I was hoping for some more meaningful candles. We had some really big candles pushing down. It would be nice if we got that pushing back up again. So it's a little bit corrective still, but I think the buys still look good. Again, I would wait for NFP to do its thing and then assess the damage and see what we're looking at afterwards. But if I drop to the hourly chart, maybe if you come back to some of these areas, could be some nice longs. But again, it's a big difference whether we slowly correctively push back down and then push up, or we just plummet to the downside from an NFP release and then take the buys. You need development there. You don't want to get straight into the trade. But either which way, daily chart is trading in an area where, again, a higher low makes sense. We saw one here, second there, third over there. Could be seeing a fourth. So there is a lot of room to the upside for pound, hence why I'm bullish bias. But yeah, I would wait for NFP to do its thing and then reassess from there. But this is kind of the plan I have with pound, and yeah, looking to see if we can take that back into 1.286. So yeah, pound USD still very bullish. Um, at least some retracement to 1.285. Maybe the bigger move is to the downside for pound. Maybe we come back into some of these areas and continue lower, but at least likely to see some upside. And of course, USD will have its say. Okay, you're looking for a pullback and a buy as well. Yeah, it makes sense. I would just like that bullish leg there to have a little bit more momentum. That's just me being a bit picky, but it looks like we are starting to build some nice momentum. So a higher low and a push up. But yeah, we're just naturally in that area where another higher low could form. And maybe we're seeing one right now. So yeah, I'm pretty bullish on pound USD, but all eyes are on the dollar. Is anyone be looking to hold positions through NFP today? Do you have any brave soldiers who are putting themselves forward? I mean, actually, I am one of them with CAD Yen as well. I mean, it's not directly affected by USD, but it's still a trade, still an FX pair, and still definitely going to move with NFP as well. Maybe might not see as much movement, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Cadyan's it's well into profits, nowhere near my entry price, so I don't have to worry too much about the risk with that one. So I'll let it do its thing. But yeah, CAD USD is going to be an interesting one because although I'm pretty bearish in USD, we're failing to break support here, so that's not particularly great. We very much could bounce at this low and push up. I want to see price crack through, and that'll be a real indication that the bears are stepping into the market, and we're likely going to push lower. So that's really what I want to see from NFP. Okay, I will take a look at silver for you. No problem, MD. Holding short on euro. Okay, nice. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty bullish on euro, but we are failing at the highs there. So possibly we might see a move to the downside anyway for euro. We're still mostly holding to the highs. So yeah, I'm pretty bullish. I'm looking for a move up. I mean, it's not looking as good as pound. I said early in the stream, it would be nice if euro can make new highs first. Then we can look for a pullback. Basically, copy and paste what pound USD is doing. So it would be nice if euro could make the high, then pull back. But overall, we are stuck at resistance. So I'd imagine that's kind of where you're basing your trade from, Johnny. Looking for some sell at the high there. Yeah, I'm not bearish myself, but again, who knows with NFP? Who knows? If you see a bullish USD, it's going to help you trade right out. But again, depends how tight your stop loss is because you might even be in the right direction. The market could stop you out. That's the real downside. Okay, holding your euro yen longs. Or was it Aussie yen longs? I mean, there's no wrong or right answer. Yeah, as you said, Holy One, hindsight is a bit of a killer because whatever you do with that position, you're always going to look back in hindsight, after the news is settled and be like, okay, that was the right decision or that was the wrong decision. And I guess no one necessarily knows really. I could tell you to close it. I could tell you to hold. I could be right. I could be wrong. Doesn't really matter, really, does it? Because it's not like I know what NFP is going to do. So if I was right, it's based on NFP just playing out with a bit of luck, and if I was wrong, it's a bit of unluckiness, really. So I think the best way in your position, if I was in your position, I'll probably just lock in some gains. It depends how far from my entry price the market is. If it's very close, I'd probably just close it and call it a week. If it's far enough where I think I'm not going to be in too much danger, if it does go against me, I'll lock in some gains and just make sure my stop losses trail to break even. So worst case scenario, I still walk away with something. Best case scenario, it's in my favor. Could be a really nice trade, which I lock onto. So that's kind of what I would do. But again, it's completely up to you. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at for euro silver analysis. I'll take a look now. So I actually do really like silver. Silver is one that could find itself on my watch list next week, depending what NFP does. But you can see we had a lovely swing from the low here to the high. Looks like we're starting to consolidate now. I'm waiting for us to break to the upside. So if we can see a solid close like this, that'd be magnificent. And then from that, I'm looking at some pullbacks, retest, and some buys back into 34.5. So yeah, that's the analysis I'm looking at. Really nice swing low down there and swing high. Excuse me. Again, the key thing with silver is the higher time frame analysis as well. Still looking very bullish. You can see the overall uptrend still in play. As long as that's the case, I'm still looking to buy. Um, it's just at the moment we're kind of consolidating in that range there. So I need that to break higher, and then I can start looking for some pullbacks and hopefully ride it back to 34.5, 35, and maybe beyond that as well. So yeah, that's more or less what I'm looking at. It might look a little bit different when it actually sets up. Maybe it's not the retest of the higher look at. Maybe it's a little bit deeper, a little bit less. So that will change depending on the opportunity. But more or less, that's what I'm looking at. Bullish bias, looking for a swing to the upside. Lovely double bottom at the 0.618. If we can break the high, we're on. If not, we might sell off again. I'm not really interested in that. So I'm just going to wait for us to eventually break out. Yeah, so that's the plan with silver. Okay, right in the middle, 50% for your entry, 50% for your take profit. So it's not even slightly closer to the take profit or slightly closer to your entry, because that would make my decision up. If price was close to the take profit, I would just lock in some gains, stop loss to break even, and just kind of hope maybe we spring into my take profit and I can walk away. If it's close to my entry, then like I said, I would probably just pull the trade, take the small win, and just not have that stress going into NFP. Because it's 50-50, I guess it's 50-50 either way. You could do either one of those. Okay, yeah, maybe we'll probably have to do screenshots still live. That'll be yeah, that'll be pretty interesting. Um, yeah, smack bang in the middle. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wouldn't say. Yeah, it's on you on that one, Holy One. It's your trade after all. But yeah, either which way, I think you're gonna look back in hindsight and be like, oh, I should have done that, or well, I did the right thing. Um, but I think locking gains, you can never really lose from that. Of course, if you do locking gains, it means that you don't take the maximum profit when it does hit your take profit. But in a day like NFP, it always makes sense to lock in some gains, really, in my opinion. And also it means that if price doesn't go your way, the downside is measured as well. But yeah, it's a tricky one, 100%. And yeah, not a big fan of gold either. Silver looks really good to the upside in terms of the setup and everything. Gold, I'm not a big fan of because it actually did break structure to the downside. Not a really good sign for a buyer. So I want price to start doing something like this first, breaking highs back again to the upside. And then I can start looking for some buys again. That'll probably line up pretty well with silver at that point. But yeah, we're nowhere near that right now. So yeah, gold is definitely a market which still very bullish on, but just no opportunity to buy. If anything, I don't mind the sells here. Retest that supply area. Could be a nice short back to the low. Very corrective move after such a strong impulse. Might be price having a bit of a correction for its next drop. So I think the shorts still look good there, but the buys still look very, very horrendous to me. I haven't actually taken a look at the indices at all today. and you see what's happening with them. US 30, okay, still in that consolidation, but still looking for a bit more retracement back to 44K and hopefully some nice buys from there. I mean, again, overall, the market's still very bullish. Yeah, still consistent high highs, high lows. So another pullback for US 30, and we should be on our way. Unless we go and take out this low here, that's when I'll rethink things if we do that. But if we don't, I'm expecting pullback on a higher low. US 100, more of the same, really. Maybe a bit of a dip in the market there, but nothing too big. In fact, NAS probably is one of my favorite setups right now with the indices. I really like this area here. Prior resistance, we broke through with a lot of momentum, really strong candle close. Haven't revisited yet as support, so it's a nice fresh area. We've got the 0.5 of the 50 of the fib there. So if you can see some pullbacks there, that looks good. Take it back to the high and possibly beyond as well. So I think NAS looks really good. Again, a very bullish market. I will remain bullish with NAS as long as we stay above this low here. I mean, if we do take out that low, I'll still be bullish, but at that point, I'll be expecting a deeper correction. I'll be looking at this as a swing now from this low to that high. So we're looking at maybe some areas down here, maybe in a retest of this high there as a place where we can pull back into before we get the next bullish leg. So it's not that I'll necessarily be bearish, but I just expect a bigger pullback. But for now, NAS 100, 21K looks really nice. Maybe that might set up next week sometime, but still expecting more upside from that regard. S&P 500, more of the same here really as well. Nice low, create a new high. Again, not as good of opportunity as NAS. I like this area here just below the 0.786. I mean, this area looks okay, but not as good as NAS. But again, the idea is we're still looking for that higher low, for the continuation for a new high. As long as we stay above this swing point, still looking for NAS, for S&P to form a higher low and push on. If we do break structure, I'll just be looking at a bigger correction, in relation to this swing low here, might pull back like that, and then be on our way. But it's a very bullish market right now. I would only be looking at buys. Of course, I know we create new all-time highs now, so I do expect a bit of downside, but it's just more retracement I would expect. But yeah, that we might see a big drop today if NFP facilitates that. Could easily see a big drop. Okay, hold it, push more. Got to stop at entry. That's it. See you in 3 days. Okay, take care. I like how we just keep saying 3 days, because of that one time where I was like 3 days. But yeah, we'll see you. We'll see you next week. Have a good weekend, everyone. And let me quickly have a quick look at UK 100. Let me enter that in the right area. UK 100 still looking very rough, but overall bullish market. GR30, and that's cleared the highs very well. GR30 has been on a crazy one. Very, very bullish. So yeah, this one's due a pullback at some point, but again, more of the same. Pullbacks, more upside. Very bullish on the DAX. But yeah, going into NFP, of course, all the eyes will be on USD, DXY. See what happened with this one. I mean, again, judging on the weekly kind of closure from last week, I'm still pretty bearish, expecting more downside. You can see very nice bearish engulfing candle as we approach the high there. Nice wick rejection. So I'm still bearish USD. Of course, if things change, I'll change with it. Don't want to be stubborn. But things are pointing to the bearish side of things. So that's what I'm leaning to right now. And of course, taking that into Euro USD, for example, I'm looking at that pushing to the upside. I'm looking at this as a big range from that high there to the low. Kind of got the 50% in this area here. So this is where I do expect price to push back into at least 50% of the range, which is just above 1.08. So that's kind of where I'm looking for Euro USD move into. Pound USD is in an area where we're forming consecutive higher lows. 1, 2, 3, could be a fourth. So there is upside potential there for pound. Dollar CAD is trading at a massive high as well. It does look like price is really failing to break through that high or sustain that price. So I am looking at price turning around for dollar CAD as well in a big sell. Hey, if I'm wrong, if USD is very strong today and we get a strong close on the daily chart back above the high here and a strong weekly close to match that as well, because of course we get the weekly close today, then I'll throw my hands up, probably shift my bias back to bullish again, and look for some pullbacks at some stage for dollar CAD. If we keep up these higher highs and higher lows, great. Let's create a new high. I'll look for the next pullback, and Bob's your uncle. We're looking for another high low. But if dollar is very weak today, exceptionally weak, and we see a strong push down, break the lows, then yeah, the bias is very bearish on dollar CAD, looking for lower highs and looking to take that down. So that's kind of where I'm at with USD. In terms of my current personal trading, I'm still in CAD Yen. The idea is keep looking to trail this back down to 102. That's the target for this one. 103, sorry, back down to 103. That's still the target for this one. My stops are still trailed just above the high there. I'm gonna let the market do its thing. I'm not trying to be too aggressive. Just trail, let the market just have really looked in gains as well. So worst case scenario, I still walk away with a win. Best case, we get a drop to 103 and to be a really nice trade. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on CAD Gem. Nothing else is really there for me yet, maybe apart from pound CAD, but the entry is not quite there. But a lot can change this afternoon, so it's very much just see what happens with CAD Yen, see what happens with the other yen pairs, pound CAD as well, USD, and there could be some nice trades early next week. That's kind of where I'm at. But it's gonna be a very interesting afternoon, so make sure you manage your risk, guys, and keep an eye out for that. But we have approached the end of the stream. I do really appreciate everyone tuning in and leaving some messages, chatting with me, liking the stream. It does really help out. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. It does really help out, guys. I do really appreciate it. And hit the bell whilst you're at it. If you haven't done so, check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join, discuss with other traders, different setups, including myself. So if you're interested, go check that out as well. Link to that in the description below. But guys, really do appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate more saying hello, chatting with us, spending some time. I do appreciate, my man. Have a good weekend as well. Catch you on Monday too, and of course everyone else on the stream as well. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in. Have a great weekend, and I'll catch you all in the next one.